Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Michael from the No Smoke Podcast. Um, we have some interesting things to talk about today. We're talking about episode 9 of season 4 from, and we're gonna start off by talking about Sophia. We start off at the very beginning. Sophia is in the woods and she's shapeshifting back into the man in yellow, or back into Sophia. She comes out from the woods, and then she immediately walks upon Clara and Elgin, and she asks them what they're doing, and they say that they're going to get all the rope and stuff like that for the pulling out of the tree because they're going to get the bones tomorrow morning. And she's like, "Oh, really? I hope that works out for them." So then Clara dips off to do something, and Sophia follows behind her, and then we have the scene from the trailer where she shows her eyes and they turn black. And immediately Claire's like, oh God, she knows. And then we come to find out, which was really disappointing to me, that she had um she had been the mole. They had made a bargain. She was the mole the whole time. And so that's kind of crazy. So then they go back to Sarah's house, and Sophia picks up the knife while Claire's shutting the door, and she hides it behind her back, and she's like, come up to my room. So they go up to her room, and she's made a bargain with Sarah, so she's wanting her to do something. So then she asks Clara. She brings out the knife. She cuts her hand. She cuts Clara's hand, and then she holds their hand together, and she's like, "Just relax. Let me in. This is gonna feel funny." But anyway, so then we go to the next scene where Clara's coming up to the ambulance, and I'm like, what is she doing? Is she gonna set the ambulance on fire? I couldn't quite figure it out at first, but then she peels the band-aid from her hand and she puts the blood into the drink and she gives that drink to Fatima. Now, I was wondering who she was gonna give the blood to at first, but then once I seen she was giving it to Fatima, I automatically knew that was game over for Fatima. She was trying to turn her into one of those monsters quicker, so that was kind of crazy. Um, we'll go back to that later, I'm sure. So then we have Victor, and he goes to his Eloise's grave and Miranda's grave, and he's like, I don't know what to do, and all this stuff, and he's kind of emotional. And then he looks over and he sees the man in white, or the boy in white, becoming a young man in white, really. But anyway, he tells him, "Do you know what the others are doing? They're gonna pull down the tree." And he's like, "What?" So then he goes to the sheriff's office and he says, "You guys can't do that." So then he runs out, as you saw in the trailer. He's going out into the street with his determined walk, and then they arrest him and put him into the jail. So we also seen a scene where Donna was talking to some people, and then she was talking to Boyd and them, and she says all these things about how this plan is not going to work, how you don't have a better plan, how you don't have a plan B or nothing like that. And they're like, basically, like, this is the only plan we have. And she's like, I know, I just hope it works out for you. And then when she's done with that, Christy comes over and she basically tells Boyd that Fatima's vitals are not good and she should be dead. So she don't know why she's alive. She don't know how or anything like that. Boyd freaks out. So then the next thing you see, Boyd back in the prison, or back in the jail station, sheriff's office, whatever you want to call it, and he's telling Christy basically like, "No, we can't tell Ellis, and I need you to be out there just in case something happens at the tree, so that way we got medical people there, because we don't know if we can make it back to the clinic." So then His Parkinson's is getting worse during this time at the same time. We also have a scene later where Clara comes back to the man in yellow after she finds out that Jade and Tabitha are the only ones going into the caves to get the bones. So she tells the Sophia that they're the only ones going to get the bones, and you can see right away Sophia knows that they know the ritual now. Oh, and that's one thing I forgot to touch on earlier. When Clara and Sophia were upstairs in the bedroom in Sarah's house and they were talking, she said that this is one of the answers that we got. So for the people that don't think we got answers from this show, one of the answers we did get was when they were talking, she said this thing is a ritual. And it's not only what you do, but how you do it. And so later on, when Tabitha's having a conversation with Ethan and they're kind of hugging and saying, don't stop believing, the Aunt Cooey children show up and they're all pointing at Tabitha. And she's looking at the talisman and she notices that there's only two people on that talisman. So they figured out it has to be Jade and Tabitha to go down there. So that's what they do. So anyway, back to Clara. She comes in and she tells Sophia what they're doing, and she's visibly upset. And Elgin comes around the corner after finding this picture, and man, I was so like frustrated with this part of the show because Elgin has got to be one of the dumbest characters I have ever seen, because he comes out with the picture and he says, Sophia, that looks like you. And she's like, well, it is. And he's like, huh? How can that be? What do you mean how can that be? It can't be. That should have told you right there that this person is not who she says she is. And you're like, huh? I don't understand. What do you mean? Like, I don't know about y'all, but I was very frustrated with this part because I was like, oh my God, dude. If you can't put that together, you need to die. So unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. But I don't know for sure. He might become a minion like Clara or something like that. But it's not good for him. Also, we had a scene from Henry where he went back into the hallucination world, and he's just really struggling with that. He can't believe that that's the real world, and the place that he's at and from is not. So that's not going along very well. Um, we, I mean, it's just crazy how that story is going. Um, if I was Henry, I would definitely know that that's not the real world to me. But this is a TV show, so you know how that goes. Also, then we had Tabitha and Jade going into the tunnels, and they're starting to dig, and they're making noise. And then the monsters wake up, and so the monsters start coming down the tunnels, and they before they find them though, they did find the stone that was covering the bones, and they did get that up. But as they got that stone up, the monsters are at the tarp, blocking the hole to the cave, where the bones are. And one of the monsters like, you really shouldn't be doing that. And that was the end of the episode. So for me, it was a really great episode because we did get answers on how some of the things actually works. But the whole plan still is bad because we don't know if the tarp and the talisman blocking the door to the cave where the bones are is going to stop them. And we also don't know um, what is going to happen when they pull up that tree. And I don't think they're going to be able to pull up the tree. So I think if they were able to pull up the tree, though, it probably would unleash something evil that they really didn't want to come out, because it's probably I think the man in yellow was telling the truth last episode at the end when he said you might be unleashing suffering like you've never imagined. And I think that's what's going to happen if they pull that tree out. But in the meantime, I'm under the impression that if Tabitha and Jade are killed, that is what triggers the massacre and the cycle reset. So, what are y'all thoughts though? Like, what do you think happens? Like, do you think that the bottle tree is important, like the boy in white says? And if they pull it up, something bad is going to happen? Do you think Elgin's going to die or become a minion? What are y'all thoughts? Let me know, and I would love to talk with you guys in the comments. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you again next time.